And producer Mick throws me right under the bus out of the gate without the intro. No idea. Thanks, producer Mick. NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Big show today. Got maybe one of the best faces in hockey content out there. Johnny Lazarus. He writes for covers. He's everywhere. This man skated laps with Sidney Crosby, other A-list NHLers. We're talking your college stuff, like your not play by play, your color commentary. Like very few people spend as much time in hockey in this space as you do, Johnny. So happy to have you on. Happy to talk hockey. How was last night for you? Did you see anything you thought maybe that wasn't going to happen? I mean, Carolina came out hot, and we saw how good Carolina is to literally erase a 2-goal lead quickly and then finish the 40 up 3-2, pal.
Well, first of all, Josh, that intro is very high praise. I appreciate that. And yeah, last night's game, Carolina jumps out to that 2-0 lead. Two like very uncharacteristic turnovers and goals to give up for Florida. So I was, kind of sitting there laughing. I took the Canes last night. I obviously, as someone who works in the media, you're always like rooting for a series to extend as long as it can. Just so you have more to talk about, more space to fill, basically, and honestly, just more storylines. So I was really pushing for the Canes last night. I thought they were going to find a way to do it, especially after that start, like I mentioned. I was watching guys like Aho and Svechnikov to have the big games. Aho obviously has those 2 goals. Svechnikov was a little bit quieter than I would have liked him to be, especially after the first 2 rounds that he had. I thought Andrei Svechnikov, going into this conference final was arguably the best forward for Carolina. So I thought last night, if they were going to push this series to 6, it was going to be on his shoulders. But just 1 assist, 2 shots. He'd been a guy who you can count on for like 4 shots, 5 shots even at points in this playoff. So it was a little bit disappointing for Svechnikov last night, but all the credit in the world goes to this Florida Panthers team. Even when you think they don't have it, they find a way to push it and turn things around. Although I think it was it Kotkaniemi we were talking about in the show who takes that penalty that leads to the Tkachuk power play goal.
Yes.
Which really kind of turned things around in that game. But yeah, I mean, listen, the Florida Panthers are just a monster.
But how dangerous is that? Like you mentioned the turnovers right out of the gates, right? Like Seth Jarvis did get the assist on the second goal, but that was just because he created that turnover, really didn't produce the assist. But Florida didn't play a great game. Bob was kind of cheese in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you win like that. Like that, it was nice to see Florida not just run over teams. It kind of looked more like the game. What was that? Game 3 in Florida versus Toronto, where they hadn't had to play like that in a long time. So is that bad news for Edmonton that Florida, if Edmonton gets through, that Florida has that gear as well?
Yes and no, because I think Edmonton has found a different gear as well. And when the Oilers are playing at their best, like similar to what Carolina would have looked like, the Oilers have a lot more dangerous forwards up front than Carolina does, in my opinion. Like if you give, if you match up the top 5 forwards with the top 5 Edmonton forwards, like I'm probably picking the Edmonton 5 forwards to score a goal 10 out of 10 times more than I would the Carolina forwards, right?
When you get Will Carrier out there with grade A chances and muffins on there, you're like, okay, maybe someone else is bearing that. Yeah.
And honestly, Edmonton's depth has been really good all playoff long. So like that's something that gives, the Oilers a huge edge going in is how good, their bottom 6 has been compared to Florida's bottom 6 as well. Like this series is going to be, and again, like I'm not giving Dallas really a chance to come back and win this series, and I'll apologize to any Stars fans listening, but we all knew last year's Cup final was going to be a close series. I don't think anyone knew it was going to be the tale of 2 different series where Florida comes out and dominates. Dominates a stretch. I think Edmonton had a really strong game 1, came up short. Game 2, I didn't think they were good at all. I think they had 12 shots maybe total in that game. But it's all Florida in the first 3 and then all Edmonton in the second 3. Like we all knew or hoped it would go 7, but we didn't know how it would get there. I think this year it'll be a little bit more give and take than last year was. And I would think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series again. But I don't know. This Edmonton team looks different. I still don't know who I would pick to win. I still need more time, especially as I see some comments here from Insight without Hyman. So,
you're gonna see it at a pick 'em anyway. So that's kind of, you not knowing what to think about kind of lays the idea that it's going to be a pick 'em. And Florida's shown that they can win on the road. Home ice hasn't meant a lot so far in these playoffs. One thing about that last year's finals going 7, it cost Bob the Conn Smythe going that far, because if it wraps up early, it's Bob's Conn Smythe. Right now, with how deep Florida is, with what, like 100 guys with 11 points so far in that series, no one really standing out. Kind of no one standing out until that incredible Barkov assist.
Yeah.
Like, that assist was incredible, but you got to give Verhaeghe some credit for being behind the net on that play and knowing that he's going out and still getting to that play. You got Barkov or Bob right now leading that team. Let's say Conn Smythe is handed out now. Who is it?
I mean, honestly, we're just talking
Or
about
who's
Florida.
the best player? Who's the best player for Florida going into the Stanley Cup Finals right now?
Who's the best player for Florida going in? Man, I'd lean Bennett.
Yeah. No.
I'd lean Sam Bennett, honestly. For what that guy does night in, night out, like, he's also scoring goals, right? I think he leads their team with goals in the playoffs. I know he led the team in goals in the conference final with 4. Like, I don't want to take any credit away from Alexander Barkov, but Sam Bennett seems to be night in, night out, like the guy who has the biggest impact on the game every night.
No, I agree.
Is that a stretch? Is that a stretch to say? Like, Bob's been good. I don't think he's been as elite as he was the past 2 postseasons.
Yeah, I think where Bob is as the betting favorite for Florida, I don't love it. I do think there's some room for Barkov, and I do think there's room for Bennett, who I think is like 30-1. Like, just because of that cluster of players in the point total for that team, it's making it quite interesting. Let's get to today's game and where the Hyman injury is impacted. Obviously, within the game, it was easy for Knobloch to jump Perry from 4-1, get back on PP1, which is a role that he's very comfortable with in the net front. Nothing changes. But drawing somebody in today, where are we situated in terms of what they're going to do with that roster? Are they going to, like, if Ekholm's ready to go, do you bring him in for one game and then maybe a giant break? I think, what's the dates? Sportsnet put June 4th and 7th as possible starts for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So does he come in, or does Skinner come in, or what's the situation? What do you think the best move is for this lineup without Hyman?
I think we were just talking about it, like 30 minutes ago on our show this morning. But I would say, and I'm agreeing with Colby here, if Ekholm's good to go, you put him in. You limit his minutes a little bit. You can always, double shift Draisaitl and McDavid, maybe, like,
and go 11-7.
Wanted to, yeah, and go 11-7. I would probably do that over throwing Skinner in if Ekholm is good to go. If he's not fully at 100%, throw Skinner in. It's not going to hurt you if he has 2 extra days off. If you need to play him in game 6, maybe you play him in game 6. But if I had to pick one side or the other, I'd think they're going to go 11-7 and give Ekholm some limited minutes tonight, just so he can get a feel for a game before being thrown into the Stanley Cup final for his first game since April 11th.
All right, let me throw my plays out here so we can get them down to the bottom so you guys can roast them in the chat. Empty net goal, plus 110. I know not a lot of people are betting this, but this is a play that at even money, I think you play every day, every game, and even more in elimination games. We saw Dallas pull the goalie down 1 with 3 minutes to go last games. There's different situations, and I think these are being priced as regular season numbers. Going to take Corey Perry for an anytime goal at 350, half a unit there. Was thinking about the point at plus 115, but his role isn't really driving an offense and creating. Just stand in there, get your stick down, and hopefully maybe we've seen RNH just absolutely fill up the apple basket in terms of what he's doing and scoring. Someone said Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for Conn Smythe. No, I love it, but it just won't happen. Right? They gave it to McDavid, who didn't accept it last year as a losing player. It's either McDavid or Skinner, and it's probably 85% McDavid or Draisaitl. No?
I would think so.
You think so, right? Like, do you think that looks bad on the league where here's your Conn Smythe and he doesn't even come out to get it?
No, well, with the way it went down, I don't, if you watch that Amazon series, the behind the scenes, and I'm forgetting what it was called. Was it like Selling Face Off? Kind of forgetting the name of the Amazon series, but when you're the captain of a team and listen, I'm not going to pretend like I've ever been in that situation. I've lost in a championship game before, but I was never like handed an award after losing.
Yeah.
But you got to imagine there's nowhere else you'd want to be than kind of grieving with your teammates. And I don't think it was disrespectful. I don't think it was.
Oh no, not disrespectful. It's just the way hockey players are. Like there's a reason why Florida doesn't touch the Prince of Wales trophy. It's just the way it is, and it just looks bad for the NHL. I think, and optically wise, not for McDavid.
Yeah, and again, like I remember, being a kid, 7 years old, watching J.S. Shiger get it in Jersey in Game 7 after the Ducks had lost.
Yeah,
and I don't remember if fans were booing or cheering. I don't know how fans would have reacted in Florida if McDavid was out there. I'd imagine they would boo, knowing Florida people, but I know there are some organizations that would or fan bases that would probably show a sign of respect, especially after you beat the guy. Like, why not like let him have some sort of applause? Maybe that's just me being a softie. But yeah, I don't know. Like this rematch is gonna be incredible though. I'm very excited for it.
Jonathan Davis, always appreciating the chat. Dropping some empty net stuff. He says, Josh, you can make more money playing each team to score an empty goal. Also, 12 of the 20 potential clinching games have had an empty net goal. We'll take that. The winning team has covered the puck line in 10 straight games and 19 of the last 21 playoff games. Continue to play both teams at -1.5 at plus money. Jonathan Davis, appreciate that. Thanks for that insight. And I do believe, like, the empty net goal market isn't one that you're thinking of usually when you get to the book and be like, how am I betting this game? No, I think Jonathan Davis is one of the guys constantly every day asking if they've seen an empty net goal market. So we got that one. I'm taking Kapanen last goal. 50 to 1 for 0.2 units. That's a big number. So the only idea here, the handicap on this, Johnny, is we saw his speed. Obviously, it was Henrique who got the last goal, but we saw Kapanen kind of blow the zone to go get that alley-oop pass for the second last goal. He's got wheels, and if Edmonton's up late in this game by multiple goals, it's not going to be 97 and 29 on the ice.
No, I think that's a great little find. And how many goals does Kapanen have in the playoffs? 3, 2?
2. He had the only goal in the 1-0 game.
Yeah. Like this is you thinking like who's going to be out there to put in the empty netter, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like I was on Jordan Martinook last night because he's out there, but because guys are pulling the goalie so early, you actually cycle through probably 2 or 3 lines more so than just 1 or 2 in the regular season.
Have you hit one of these recently?
I had Brad Marchand, lead killer.
Wow.
He was like 17 to 1 though. 50 to 1's big.
Yeah, that's huge. And it's also just a fun thing to root for too. 0.2 units, harmless.
Keeps you engaged till the end of the game sometimes too, which has been tough.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a good bet. I like that. I would ride that with you.
Nice. Andy Francis saying Sam Steele. He wants some Sam Steele. It's got to be priced the exact same thing on the other side if you're on the Dallas side. So that's it is a fun way to bet. If you're going to go one guy, just go both sides. Like go put like some pizza money on a Dallas guy and go put pizza money on an Edmonton guy.
What about betting the draw? It's been a while since we've seen an OT game.
No, that's kind of where I am on my next play on the Skinner stuff too. I want Skinner over 24.5 saves -110 because we haven't seen one, right? Like we're certainly due. And I do like this. It's gone over. He's gone over this in 3 straight games. And what I liked was Dallas coming out in game 4 in that first period. Just absolute. I think it was like 32 to 10 in shot attempts. I don't know if they got everything through, but he was really busy. And I mean, you've watched all these games, and I think we're past the point of the narrative where we can't say we're going to get a bad Stuart Skinner, right? Like, yes, the 830 Skinner exists, but right now you just have to realize that Stuart Skinner is playing big in net and he's making big saves.
I agree. The conversation we were having was which goalie you trust more. I think it's hard not even to trust Skinner more than or I guess the conversation could be it might be easier to trust Skinner over Ottinger right now with how this series has played out.
Ottinger has Hellebuck tendencies in terms of like big bad games.
Not as loud.
Yeah, okay.
Not as loud. but I certainly see what you're saying. It's very like I'm pretty sure his playoff record's like right around 500, right?
Yeah.
Like he'll win one, lose one, win one. Like he doesn't go on a tear.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying there.
He did
But
play. He did play great last game, which was bad news for Dallas that you lose a
yeah.
game when you actually had a good Otter game.
Jonathan Davis Skinner on that 13-1 run games 4 through 7, 2 goals or less in 13 of the games. Dallas team total under 2.5. It's a good find too. He's on the money, Jonathan Davis, huh?
Yeah, Jonathan Davis. I think he just got a shout out on 32 Thoughts.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah, for mentioning the Mikko Rantanen overuse, where he's like, yeah, if you play Mikko Rantanen under 18 minutes, he does well. If you play him 22 minutes a game, guess what? He's not very good because you run him into the ground.
Jonathan Davis has earned a follow for me. I'm trying to find him on Twitter.
There you go. Way to go, JD. No, he knows his markets. He knows a lot. So Skinner here, OT possible, 2 goals allowed, last 3 games. There's a lot to like about Skinner, and I just think, and I've been on that wagon too. It's like, oh, you can't trust Skinner. Yes, you can. We can trust this team. That game 4 was maybe one of the nicest hockey games that I got to watch. You got to watch Edmonton get outplayed early, weather the storm, take the lead, play with the lead, play aggressively with the lead, get special teams. And I mean, just stop and watching McDavid play hockey is incredible. It's they were talking about it on Spitting Chicklets yesterday about guys with speed. You don't get speed in the playoffs because you don't get time and space. The only person who gets speed is McDavid, and watching him play hockey, you have to do it. Even if you don't like hockey, it's the best thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, listen, nothing better than playoff hockey, right?
Absolutely. Let's go. And then I went too heavy on one side. So where am I going on some Dallas stuff? J-Rob. Do I love J-Rob's skill set? No. Do I love that J-Rob is playing with confidence after getting a goal that he didn't even know that he got? And then all of a sudden goes nuclear again just on shots on goal, because that's what he is. And he's get home with last change, and he's a guy who has crazy splits in terms of his shots on goal over his last 3 years, in terms of on the road getting a bad matchup versus at home getting an easier defensive matchup versus a team who, let's be honest, still, I mean, the defense in Edmonton is maybe outperforming their skill set. Can we say that, Johnny?
Yeah, 1,000%. Again, though, like, they're doing such a good job at collapsing in the middle. Everything for Dallas has come to the outside. And that's something, noticeable in the past couple games where, Dallas will get a scoring chance, but there's no second or third opportunity. Sorry,
okay, you can read that one. Hanging me to dry. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Not trying to, obviously. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Jason Robinson for me. I mean, looking at his shot attempts, Josh, like that's the thing that stands out, right? Like 3 games ago, 5 shot attempts, 2 games ago, 11 shot attempts, last game, 6 shot attempts. Like the numbers continue to spike a little bit for Robertson. And like you said, on home ice, and also a game of desperation too, right? Like their backs are against the wall. They're fighting for their lives. You got to think everything will go on net from Robertson, a guy who has found his game a little bit here in the past too, scoring goals in back-to-back. So come power play also, Robertson's a guy who's probably one of the first or second looks to get him the puck in a good spot on the power play. I think it's a lock for 3. Careful with that word, obviously. I think he definitely gets 3 shots, and then, obviously depending on how the game goes, if Dallas is down by 1 or 2 late in the game, goalie pulled, like he's a guy who's just going to throw every puck on net.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see how Peter DeBoer deployed his PP units last game, because it was the Robertson unit getting the first jump over the boards in the offensive zone draw. The Grayland, Seguin, Marchment, Heiskanen line with the Harley unit getting maybe the last 40 seconds. Now, going back to Nick Perez. Nick Perez, you owe Johnny an apology. On my side, throwing someone a layup like that, like on my end, like, yeah, Connor McDavid's really fun to watch. That's lame on my end. Like, what do you say? Like, what do you honestly say about it?
I did. Yeah, I mean, like,
it's yeah, I get it.
Kind of like a known thing.
All good. Matt Duchene, anytime goal from Adam's Digest. Appreciate it. How fast can Robertson and Heiskanen return to form after injury? I think it's safe to say that they are both back up to speed now. He was buzzing last game, threw the puck through the crease like twice with nobody home. The Duchene. So that's a good point, Adam, that you brought up that line, because that line's back together. It was one of my favorite lines all year when Seguin, before his injury with Marchment, Duchene. They drove a lot of offense But as Johnny kind of pointed out, the spacing and the gap work from Edmonton kept everything on the outside. Like I think I saw Mason Marchman on the off wing throw like 2 awful backhand passes across to nobody. Like they got some ozone, they got the entries, but when it came time to actually get it to the puck and get it to net, they didn't really create too much.
And listen, Robertson also getting first line minutes again. You know, I know he's got up and down the lineup, but tonight being on a line, it looks like Daily Faceoff has him slotted in with Rupe Hintz and Mikko Rantanen. That's a dangerous 3, and you got to think they'll get their fair share of chances here tonight. Edmonton, as good as they've been, there have been moments in this series where Dallas has really pressed them. And you know, before Robertson scored in Game 4. I was sitting there thinking like, oh my God, here they come. Like that second period, Dallas, I think, put up 21 shots. I think they outshot them 21-7. Might be in total, just if my memory is correct. And that could easily happen tonight. Like, remember, what was it? Game 6 last year when Edmonton closed it out. I'm pretty sure Dallas outshot Edmonton like 34-12. You know, it was a crazy count. Edmonton in the third period, they just sat back and protected that lead the entire third period. So the Dallas angle tonight, by all means, like even if they lose, like the individual plays, I think are a good way to go.
No, okay, I agree. Let's go. So, empty net goal. Got the green light from Jonathan Davis on that at 2. Went from Perry point to Perry goal. I think there's better value at that. I think you get that at the 3 around plus 300 and up mark. I think that's where that is. Kapanen last goal, I think, is 30-1 or better. I think you take a swing at that. Skinner saves, as Johnny did mention, that we haven't really seen a lot of overtime games, which is kind of interesting to see. I know guys who bet, especially the first round, where they just bet draw every game. It's been a profitable market for sure, but we haven't seen it yet. Skinner saves, and then J-Rob on the shot ladder. And the thing I didn't mention already about that shot ladder is when you get the first rung of the shot ladder at plus 145 and then just spend 1 unit on the next 2, you get to the first step of that ladder and it's profit. And then you work your way up there. That's how a good shot on goal ladder works. Now, I don't know if you're watching how they score shots on goal. Yes, I thought I had Aho over 2.5, and on the power play in the second period, I thought he had like 2 on. Yeah. I'm like, where are these coming from? Too.
It's been so frustrating with like having to refresh every time you see your guy get a shot, and there's a little bit of delay, and then in between periods the number goes down. I don't know what's going on. Like there's no explanation for it either.
Jonathan Davis says 34-10 were the shots in that final game.
Yeah, that game was nuts.
Okay, so we do like hopefully Skinner to do that. Yeah, I mean, do you know the process of scoring shots on goal from the NHL?
I don't. Do you?
No, I've talked to the guy from Money Puck who's had like a good insight for it, but he's like, you probably won't get like a good, like I tried to talk to PR people from the NHL. They kind of don't want to get back to you. I just don't know the quality control, right? Is it a person between the glass? Is it a person in a booth? Is there like someone checking it after they've already done it? Because you see the corrections. You see guys like Sam Bennett corrected 2 shots on goal between periods.
And Perez, like he said, shots on goal are the most frustrating thing to bet in sports. While I
try block shots,
I partially agree, but like every time your guy has the puck in the offensive zone, you are on the edge of your seat. Like,
yeah,
literally screaming, shoot. Like it's while it's frustrating, it's probably the most fun as well. And Top Cheddar, you know, good friend of mine, just said he knows the answer if you want to talk to him.
Okay, Cheds, appreciate it. No, always appreciate guys like Cheds, guys like Davis, guys like Adam's Digest, who you constantly see in gambling Twitter, just absolutely grinding stuff out. Cheds, appreciate you there for sure. It is interesting, and it's always interesting to see like the corrections after the game, how late it is. Someone mentioned an hour after the game. Jonathan Davis said, holy jeez. So let's go. It's Thursday. If we finish this, if we wrap it up, I believe we get Stanley Cup playoffs next Wednesday, June 4th. I believe if this goes one more game, it will turn to June 7th. I did take a look at all the stadiums, at all the arenas to see who's playing, right? I believe the Dallas game 1 was Taylor Swift, right? Okay. There was issues with that.
That's why it's so far back, you're saying?
Yeah, Dallas game 1 was pushed back because of Taylor Swift. I don't think you're pushing Taylor Swift out. The only thing I saw was some Canadian band in Edmonton. That's it. So I think we don't have to wait like we did last year, which was 7 days between game 5 or the end of the conference finals to Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I'm reading some of these comments though, just about the shots, Josh. Like basically, there's Cheddar. Basically, one team employed stats keeper at the game, usually have an intern stats runner with them at the game, and then all the corrections come from the NHL league office. And then Insight said a shot on goal is not counted when the goalie stops the puck, but it was going wide or high anyway.
Yes.
That seems odd to me though.
So you can have a goalie stop, freeze without a shot on net.
But those count as saves, no?
No, they don't.
They don't?
No, they won't. They'll track them on the production side, but then they'll come back down. It has to, like, if you know what I mean. Like, the trickiest one is like a dump, like on a penalty kill, where he comes out to stop it, because if they think that the angle it wasn't going to go in, then they won't give it to him.
That's crazy.
Do you know what the highest scoring percentage shot in the NHL is? A goal. No, behind the goal line.
Really?
Yes, because if it does hit the goalie, it's not a save. But if it hits the goalie and goes in, it's a goal, and you can't have a goal without a shot.
Wow, that's interesting.
Sure, but that's what it is. That's what the guy from Minneapolis told me. What's that?
It's not a save though.
No, it will be a save. But no, it won't be a save. It will be a shot on goal. But if you shoot from behind the net and it kind of like hits off the side of the pad or something, like if you're trying to bank it off him, it's not a save if it doesn't. It's not a save if it doesn't go in. But it's a shot on goal if it's a goal.
You did, and Perez, you did just break my brain. That makes you're throwing the puck on net. It doesn't make sense to me how that's not. Jack Hughes does that all the time. Yeah.
It's kind of the analogy of why a puck that goes off the post doesn't count as a shot on goal. That idea.
Well, that I've never understood, because the puck is literally on goal.
Yeah, it's like
that has never made sense to me.
Like calling a foul pole in MLB a fair pole.
Yeah, exactly. Makes no sense. Yeah, that actually pisses me off.
Yeah,
I've never understood that.
Things that piss off Johnny Lazarus on a Thursday.
There aren't many things that piss me off. That's just stupid.
But bettors choose to bet into those markets.
I do. I
know it is, but like those are, and to those stat keepers who like absolutely get vilified online, you go try to do it yourself in a hockey game and go see if that puck gets through the crowd. You go see if that puck gets through 14 bodies in front of the net. You see if that puck was tipped and was going to go wide of the net, hits the shoulder, was it going to go in? There's a ton of ways to do it, and I think it's probably a really difficult job.
Yeah. No, it definitely is.
Yeah, Andy Francis says the way they phrase it is if there was no goalie, there would be no goal. That makes sense.
I remember Game 7 of the Cup final last year. I think there was like a special each team to have a shot on goal in the first minute, and I think
they ripped it off the board.
Florida got one with 19:03 on the clock, and they took it off. I was so pissed because I was sweating out that first minute. It was kind of like it felt like what would have been a Nerfy, I guess, for baseball. And they took it off. They took it away from me, and I was like, "Oh no, this is doomed."
Yeah, it never seems to work in the other way, which makes you think maybe we should be betting more under shots. You think the majority? Yeah, it's like 90% over on the shots. I get it, but hey, Johnny, I appreciate you jumping on. I know you're a busy man. Keep crushing it. Anybody here, gotta follow Johnny on all his socials. The guy gets to wear the red, white, and blue for content creators. He gets to try to beat up our Canadian guys like Chippy for sure. One of my favorites in the content world, Johnny, and you get a free pass. Why? Because you got no front teeth, correct?
Oh, they're fake now, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is, if you know anything about hockey, you always have an entrance into that locker room because you got no jibs. So I appreciate it, my friend. Always good to see you. Thanks
always great interacting with you, Josh, too. Like one of my more fun guys to follow and talk to online. So I appreciate you.
Awesome. All right. Plays are in Thursday. Let's win some money. Appreciate you guys in the chat. You guys keep this thing rolling. Thursday in the books. NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction. Sports Interaction has you covered for all these picks. Download the app. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Maybe, wait. Oh, smoke. No, we're at that time of the year where there's no hockey. I'll be here 10. Let's do 10 tomorrow. Let's do it anyway. All right. See you guys later. Appreciate it. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.